Welcome to the Cheat Sheet, where we decode success for creators, professors, and business owners. I'm your host, King Musa, and today we're diving into the world of student engagement and campus life, exploring the importance of student involvement and leadership. We have the pleasure of being joined today by Dr. Holly Smith, the Executive Director of Student Life at Stephen F. Austin State University. Holly is responsible for creating vibrant and meaningful student experience, fostering leadership, and encouraging student involvement. Let's hear about her role and how she's shaping student life here at SFA. Welcome, Doc Holly.
Woohoo! Happy to be here today.
Yes, ma'am. Welcome. So I have to know.
Yes, sir.
The axe, not the handle, but the axe
sign.
sign. Their hand sign.
Our hand sign.
There we go.
You want to know where it originated?
Yes.
All right. So our 1979 and 80 cheerleaders came up with it during spring break.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were at spring break having the time of their lives, as many students do during spring break.
Right.
And they noticed some people that they had met had hand signs, like, of course, like UT, A&M, Tech, all had hand signs.
Don't
and they were throwing them. And SFA's like, hey, we want one of those.
Right.
And so they came up with our hand sign, which you'll know it's very similar to Tarleton's, but we came up with it about 30 years prior to that, maybe 40 years prior to that. So that's legit right there.
Yes.
And so if you make the shape of Texas with your hands and put your pinky down, that's where Nacogdoches is. If this is the shape of Texas, you put two of them up, you got an L and a J. There we go. And then I like to say, when you're a true lumberjack, you start throwing them up in the holiday pictures. And when you see other lumberjacks going down the road, you're waving at them with your axe. That is the true spirit of the lumberjack spirit burning in your soul right there. Yes.
Yes. Wow.
That's how we have it.
You know,
history. The rest is history.
That's how it worked.
Yep.
I appreciate that. Before we continue, we got to fix our cameras again.
Yes, sir.
We were throwing our hand signs and everything.
They don't know what they're doing. So, am I ready?
Yes. One, it's not an axe. It's.
Oh, I didn't even know there was any other thing to do with my hand.
There you go. Keep going. One more time. Keep going. Right there. Close it. Perfect. We're back.
I'm practically a mass communications major.
Bam. You just got to take a lot more English classes and everything, and you're with us.
Okay.
So I have to ask you, introduce yourself and tell us what you do here at SFA, please.
Yes. So I am the Executive Director of Student Life.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
My name is Dr. Holly Smith. Students like to call me Doc Holly, and I'm good with that. But if you want to know all my names.
Here we go.
Dr. Holly Lene Gamble Smith. SFA class of 2000 and 2002.
Wow.
Yeah, there we go. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, now I have to know, where are you from? We can hear. Wait. You gotta let me finish the question.
Okay.
I know you're ready.
I
got you.
I'm always
but
ready.
You have to let me know where you're from.
Okay.
Right? Did your parents go to college? And then where did you get this inspiration for student life? Like just wanting to be involved in admin and everything.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So here we go. So originally from the big town of Pittsburgh, Texas. Oh, yeah. It's about 2 hours north of here. It's only about 5,000 population.
Okay.
Went to Northeast Texas Community College first because they let the top 10% of your graduating high school class go for free. So that was a no-brainer.
Of course.
So I made it there about a year and a half, and I said, I love you, Pittsburgh, but it's time for me to go to the big town of Nacogdoches. And so that's what got me here. And I think that based on my involvement, as outgoing as I am, I did not get involved my first semester.
Okay.
I stayed in my residence hall. I didn't know what am I doing.
So you understand.
I totally
exactly
understand.
What's going on now.
And I was 19 then. I was even a year older, and I still was just like, this is overwhelming. This is huge. I don't know. There's too many choices. I'm just going to stay in my room. And I literally, we didn't have even it's hard to believe, we didn't have streaming videos back then. Like we didn't have Netflix, Hulu, all that stuff. So I went to Blockbuster and rented VHS and watched those on the weekends.
Wow.
I know. But then I said, you know what? I got to make the most of this college experience. And so then my last 2 years as undergrad, I just dove right in. I got involved in a faith-based student organization. I joined a Panhellenic sorority, and I became an
Really?
orientation leader. And let me tell you, that's what changed my mind. I said, you know what? I could work on a college campus and have fun for the rest of my life. Sign
That's
me
how they
up.
trap you.
They trap you. And
That's
you
how
know
they
what? I'm
trap
okay
you.
with that type of entrapment.
Yeah.
Because it was totally transformative.
Yeah.
The skills I learned by being in a Panhellenic sorority and then the skills I learned by being an orientation leader
Right.
really helped me sell myself in job interviews later on. And I did go in the real world for a little while.
Okay.
I spent about 3 years out there working in human resources. I enjoyed that experience, but when an open position came available at SFA, I jumped right back over and said, let me work here full time as an administrator. And that's where I am.
We're gonna dive into all of that coming up soon.
Was it? Okay.
Right. No, really just the ending part of SFA. We're gonna dive more into your career. But before we get into the career,
okay.
I have to know.
Yes.
Outside of all of the SFA stuff, you know, and work, what do you do for fun? What are your interests, hobbies, passions, things like that?
Well, as a parent, as a mom, that tends to take all my spare time.
Yeah.
And that is going to my kids' sporting events.
Boy and girls?
So I have a 16-year-old son. He'll be 17 next week.
Okay.
He's on the varsity basketball team and golf team at his school. And I go to all those. I love basketball. It is an inside sport. There are no rain delays. Absolutely love basketball.
Yeah.
I love to cheer on the Lumberjack and Lady Jacks play.
Yes,
so we have season tickets at the basketball games as well as the football games. And I love going to those.
Right.
And I supervised our cheer and dance teams for about 12 years. And so I and also teach a section of SFA 1101 that is just for the new cheer and dance team members.
Wow.
And so I get to know them. And so I cheer them on at our sporting events as well. And then my daughter is 11 and she'll be 12 next month. And so she plays volleyball and does tumbling and cheer. And then she does basketball as well. So attending all those sporting events. And then also in my spare time, my husband is a business owner here in town.
Right.
We own Ted Smith State Farm.
Okay.
And then part owners in the Nacogdoches Cigar Company, downtown Nacogdoches. And so a lot of my other outside time is spent going to community events like through the Chamber of Commerce and Rotary and different nonprofit activities. Nacogdoches Heroes, we're really involved in them, and they give back to our Nacogdoches Heroes, like our police, our firefighters, things of that nature. Yeah.
I'm not ready for this interview.
Oh, you're not? Okay. Let's go take a nap.
You know, like, I got to do a lot more research. I should have did all my research before. Wow. Okay. Curiosities for the end. Right now, stick to the script.
Yes,
Got
sir.
you. Okay. I'll be good because I love it. I love it. Everything you're doing is exactly what you should be doing. And I just have to know, how did we go from, nah, this isn't for me, and then go back a little bit more. Pittsburgh, a little town and everything.
Yeah.
And then we, just step back. No, step back. Yes, step back. Real quick.
Okay, go back in time.
You said that it was overwhelming.
Yes.
How many options?
Yes.
Then you say Blockbuster. We're not even going to talk about that too much. I'm just going to simply say
they were all closed
the fact
when
that
you were born.
I was about to say none of them's open. So.
Yep. That wasn't a thing. I understand. Times change.
But yeah, back to overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've done plenty of interviews where we talk about we have 256 organizations, we have Greek life, and many ways people get involved.
Right.
But then literally the person whose job is involvement said, yeah, nah, this is
and
a lot.
That was when I was a sweet little 19-year-old. Yeah, that was overwhelming for me. From small town, I did go to the community college first, and I did not get involved. I went straight to class and then went to my job and did homework at home and didn't really get engaged on that campus.
Right.
But I came here. And I think because of my small town experience, which is okay. I mean, you were friends with everybody in your school. People, think were you in this group or that group. I was in all the groups because I wouldn't have had any friends if I didn't. I was in ag. I was a cheerleader. I played basketball. I was, in everything. And that's kind of what you do in a small town. You get to get involved in lots of things. So my kids are actually from Nacogdoches, but they go to a small school right outside of Nacogdoches called Central Heights, and they are involved in multiple things because you can do that from a small town.
Yeah.
And, got here though, and I just felt really out of my element. I'm like a fish out of water kind of thing. And I felt like I was still trying to figure out who I wanted to be. I started out as a biology major.
Wow.
And I wanted to be a physical therapist. And I was like gung-ho. That was my plan.
Okay.
And I didn't even know that I didn't want to do that until I became involved. And I say that because I started meeting people from different majors. As an orientation leader, I was friends with like somebody that was a theater major. Mm-hmm. And I was friends with people that were ag majors and business majors. And it just kind of opened up the doors and helped me understand more. There's lots to offer.
Yeah.
And then I really just was like, psychology, this is great. Which psychology you can use pretty much in any field. Yes. And so I ended up switching my major from biology to psychology.
Okay.
And I went the industrial organizational psychology route. And that is the study of people in the workplace.
Okay.
And then from there, I started doing human resources, mm-hmm. which then can go into any industry in any field. But I really fell in love with SFA.
Okay.
I'm a very loyal person. I'm very dedicated and focused.
Right.
And once I drank the purple Kool-Aid, there was no turning back for me. So I want other students to have those transformative experiences where you're just like, a light bulb goes off or something of that nature. And that is exactly what happened to me. But it wasn't until I'd been here for a full semester. So I did waste a full semester. But I needed that. I needed to waste that time to figure out what I wanted to do.
Of course.
And that time where I did, watch a lot of movies and stay in my residence hall, I realized, hey, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm paying a lot of money to go to school here, or I will be eventually when I start paying my student loan off. Mm-hmm. And I need to make the most of that experience. And that's what I did.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
Okay. Now, let's jump back onto the other side of being the executive director of student life engagement. Life.
Well, student engagement does fall under my pillar. So
right. I do have to know, what is the vision? What does that encompass? What is going on with that? You say it was one of your pillars. So let's dive into
So it's a pillar within student affairs, which is a big division.
Right.
And my area, I kind of think of it as the bookends. So you get admitted to the university and you go to orientation. So I supervise orientation and transition programs, mm-hmm. which we are working on a name change. We're going to be new student orientation and family programs.
Okay.
Our students are very close with their family members. You're adopting everybody into the lumberjack family. So we need to capture that relationship with family members and communicate with them on a very strategic way. And so that is our plan. They are their education partners. So let's forge that relationship.
Yes, ma'am.
And I also oversee the student engagement piece that you keep referring to, and that is all the involvement, the student organizations, fraternity and sorority life, leadership and service. And then I also have, like I said, the bookend, career services, the Center for Career and Professional Development. Mm-hmm. We want you working on your resume all throughout college. Don't wait till your senior year to do that. Build it. Work on your cover letter. Add on to that resume. Mm-hmm. Seek out skills and opportunities so where you can add more to that in a meaningful way, not just list it, like actually learn from it.
Right.
And so get admitted, go to orientation, get a job.
Okay.
That is my pillar.
Like it.
Yep.
I like it.
And all the stuff in between.
Now, you mentioned that you did graduate from here.
I did.
Right. And then you had to go work a big girl job and everything.
I did. I went out to the real world.
Right.
I did.
All right. And then you found your way back. So tell us about that. How did you end up getting, what did you do after you graduated? Mm-hmm. How did you end up getting back? And how did you get to this position?
Yeah. Yes, so I'll start with undergrad. So I'll be honest, as a transfer student, I wasted that one semester. Then I got really involved and I said, I am so not ready to go out into the real world. And so I said, you know what? Let's just go to graduate school.
Okay.
And that might be a terrible reason to go to graduate school.
No, it's not.
But it worked out for me and it helped me mature and figure out a little bit more about what I wanted to do. And we had a master's in psychology with an emphasis in IO psychology, which is the industrial organizational psychology that I mentioned earlier. And so I went that direction with my master's. And my last semester of the graduate program, I had to go get a practicum.
Right.
So I just said, you know what, I already have a great roommate. I'm just going to stay here and get my practicum in Nacogdoches.
Okay.
And I had a former sorority sister that said, hey, come out here and get your practicum experience here. And I said, great. Well, I went out there to talk with them and they hired me full time. I'm like, I don't really want to work full time just yet, but you know what? I need this practicum. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So they suckered me in for 3.5 years. And I say suckered in lightly. They actually gave me a great experience in human resources. But I knew deep down I really wanted to get back on a college campus.
Okay.
I love working with college students. They crack me up. I learn fun new tips from them. They're teaching me. I love educating them on different things, sharing my life experience with them to help them prevent from making the same mistakes. But sometimes you got to learn from those.
Right.
And I was over recruiting and training and PR for a company, a telecommunications company in town. Great experience. Still friends with the owners. And then there was an opportunity to come back to campus as the coordinator of orientation.
Okay.
And before I left with my master's before I graduated, I told the orientation department, the coordinator then, I'm like, I want your job. So let me know when you're ready to leave and I'm going to apply for it. I also told her boss, I'm like, I want her job. No, she's great at it, and that's fine. But when she's ready to leave, I don't want you to forget about me because don't
go looking. I'm right here.
I am your person. I will go gain some more skills to prepare for that, but I'm your person.
Yeah.
And you got to, some advice for you. You got to go out there and make things happen. And I see you
Understood.
doing that on the daily. So keep that up.
I appreciate
You got to
that.
go take advantage of those opportunities.
Yep.
Let people know. Find mentors. And that's what I did. So I stayed in touch with her and her boss.
Okay.
And still to this day, talk to them.
Okay.
And the day that she turned in her notice, they both called me and said, hey, I'm leaving. This is 3.5 years later. And I said, my resume's already updated. I'm ready. I'm ready to come back to campus. Yeah.
Shout out CCPD.
Yeah, that's right. And then I decided once I worked here for a couple of years, I was promoted to assistant director of orientation. Then they created a director of orientation position for me.
Yep.
Then I was the assistant dean of student affairs programs while I was working on my doctorate.
Okay.
And I did that Texas A&M Commerce, which I drove 3 hours and 10 minutes every weekend to work on my doctorate. That was quite the feat.
Wow.
And got my doctorate, and then recently it's been 3 years or so, I've been the executive director of student life.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
What a journey.
That's a mouthful.
In a whole, how many years of SFA?
So 21 years here at SFA.
Love it.
I know. I started here when I was 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been 21 years.
Okay. We love it. I like it. I'll have to ask you.
Yes, sir.
You seem like you're in the fun spot, though.
Fun spot.
What is the challenge? No.
No.
It might look fun. Because
Okay.
I do see the other side.
There's always another side.
I do see the other side, yes.
It's not all smoke and mirrors. Yeah. There's another side.
What are the challenges year to year, semester by semester, day by day, in your position?
Well, this is the hard part because it's not all butterflies and rainbows for sure. There are some late nights with student programming because guess what? Students always want to do programming at 8 a.m. I'm actually not an 8 a.m. kind of person either.
Right.
But, there's long nights and weekends. And even though it's a salary position, you're just kind of, you're always on the clock. And there are times, though, that students do make bad choices.
Always.
And so, educating them. But when, safety comes to play and those bad choices really violate our risk management policies,
right.
I mean, that's kind of tough. I have to work with students at that level and help them understand.
Yeah.
Now, here's the key thing. They may not understand it at the moment.
Of course.
But just even yesterday, a student that's graduated probably 5-6 years ago came up to me and said, thank you for holding them accountable.
Yep.
At the time, I didn't realize, how the impact of my choices were. And you showed me grace, but still held me accountable. And I remember that. And I want to apologize for my actions back then. And the funny part is So it's water under the bridge. I'm so glad you learned from that experience. But when you get out in the real world as a student, I mean, you just don't realize it makes you think that's why some things happen certain ways.
Yeah.
I can only see tunnel vision. I can only see my perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get out and start having more experiences, you realize, oh, maybe they did know what they were talking about, and that's okay. So that can be challenging. Other things, we're merging right now. Student Affairs is merging with enrollment management.
Yep.
And the great thing is I love all the staff members in enrollment management. And I'm always recruiting students, for a variety of different positions and to be lumberjacks as well. I also teach class in our Student Affairs and Higher Ed Master's program. So I'm always recruiting people to be graduate students here and all. So that's just kind of working those two groups together. They're hiring right now for a senior vice president to help manage this transition and get the two divisions together. But, of course, some of us are just kind of nervous, like fear of the unknown. But I know we're going to be fine. So that can be a little bit of a challenge, too. And then I mentioned a minute ago, I teach classes. I teach a psychology class and then a Student Affairs Master's graduate class or two. And
you teach a psychology class?
I do. I teach industrial organizational psychology. Yeah. Did you take it?
No, right now I'm in general psychology or something.
Okay. Do you like it?
No.
What?
I love the content.
The content? Okay.
But I'm on camera right now.
Oh, so that's another story.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't drop it, but I need to.
Okay. So is it past the drop deadline?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But I don't want to drop it because I enjoy the information and I can't.
So what are you struggling with in this class?
We're not supposed to talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be, see?
I want to help you with that,
I like it. I appreciate that, But UT system, SFA is, transform, new president, you talk about the new department. We see the challenges and mistakes that happen. That's how we learn and everything. But what are some things to be excited for? What are some things to look forward to, students and faculty?
Students with the UT system transition, or just to get excited in general?
Student life, your department, everything else like that.
Yeah.
It's your time to promote.
It is my time to promote. Yeah. Oh, I should have brought a handout because we have so many things. Well, of course, it's homecoming week next week.
Right.
And we just announced the artist. And I know that may not be everybody's cup of tea. Oh, I sound so old, cup of tea.
We're working on it.
But I personally like Josh Abbott Band. I like country, but I also like a lot of different genres of music. And even if you don't or you haven't heard of this particular band, come out for the experience because the bonfire is so much fun. And we are under a burn ban. The county is.
Interesting.
But within the city, we're able to still facilitate the bonfire because we'll have fire trucks out and we'll be safe and all that. But we will have the bonfire, a drone show, which is so much fun, and then the pep rally, and then our two artists we have coming. So that's something to get excited about.
Wow.
And every night there is something planned for homecoming week.
Yeah.
And alumni come in, and it's just thousands of people here, and the energy on campus really kind of gets you where you need to be in order to make it through the rest of the semester. Yes, so that's exciting. We have a new student ambassadors program that they're interviewing for, so great student leaders get involved in that. Mm-hmm. We have, I think right now we have registered 250 student organizations. Mm-hmm. We have a teacher job fair coming up, and we are a teaching institution. And so a lot of ISDs are going to come out for that. Yeah. And hundreds of students will go and meet with these ISDs.
Yes,
so that's exciting. Other than that, I'm getting excited about Thanksgiving too.
Okay. Yeah. Wait. We got to finish
And this weather. Oh, this is perfect
You
weather.
like it?
I love it.
Okay.
I love it. I love being a little bit chilly and not so much so hot.
These night times are
no joke.
Making me run to
Man,
my
it goes
dorm.
38. Woo, that's great. That's a good hoodie.
Outside, I'm okay, it's warm. I can feel the sun. That sun goes away.
It is.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, it just energizes me. You just jump up and shake your hands and go.
That reminds me, I'm going to follow you then for homecoming because I never understood it.
You never understood the concept of homecoming?
Right.
Man, coming from a small town, homecoming was where it was at. We would do big moms. Have you seen those?
Yeah.
Somebody on the parent face group said, "So do we buy our kids moms?" And I'm like,
No.
And my son is taking dual credit right now. So he's on college campus. And he just got a Letterman jacket. I'm like, you can't wear that on campus. What? Why? I said, baby,
nobody
no,
does.
you can't do that.
Yeah. Leave that back.
Yeah, sorry. You can wear it in your high school, but once you're here, you can't wear it anymore.
Ouch.
Because you're reinventing yourself in college.
Yes.
And so
leave that
high
behind.
school was important, but you leave all that behind. I know, I'm random. I went off.
No, that's straight
usual.
up. That's straight up. You don't really get to hear that. You know, most people will be, enjoy your letter. No.
Out.
We're not even going to set you. Yeah. Okay, then.
Here we go.
My next question for you is, as far as getting student engaged, right? This is always the topic of interest. I just finished an interview with Ms. Jill Still? Yes. And she was talking about, she has, university advancement and something it's enrollment is always the conversation and tethering students to, an activity or something on campus. That's why we have the 256 organizations and then everything else the college has to offer. What is the way or what are ways that you find getting students involved, getting students engaged and then enrollment and everything?
Okay. So I'm not going to throw theory at you, but I kind of am.
Go ahead.
My favorite man, Vincent Tinto.
Yeah.
He says, well, these are Holly's versions of what he says, and that students need to transition to our campus academically and socially because that will help retain them. So the academic part, going to class, studying, meeting with professors, all of that things. I can't retain you if you don't make your grades.
Right.
I can't beg for you to stay. You just can't be here if you don't pass.
Right.
But what I can focus on is making sure you find your home away from home.
Okay.
Are you finding your social group? Because no matter what your grades are, if you don't feel like you belong here, you're not going to stay. And the higher our retention is, then the more students we'll have here, which means more opportunity. And opportunity could be in the form of more dollars, yes, more research opportunities, more alum that go out and sell the university for us by talking about their experience. I want students to have a great experience both inside and outside the classroom. Biggest thing I tell students is you need to treat college like a full-time job. How many hours a week is that?
40.
Yeah. I mean, you got to put in more sometimes, right?
Right.
Midterms, finals, you got to go to class and study more than 40 hours a week.
Right.
But going to class and studying a minimum of 40 hours a week. Sleeping, you only need 8 hours, okay? 8 hours a day, maybe 8.5, whatever. You still have 72 hours a week to get involved in things that are meaningful and productive. Meaningful and productive.
Yeah.
You can waste your time on social media. You can waste your time watching movies.
Right.
You can waste your time doing nothing. Or you can go out there and make things happen for yourself. Now, the thing is we all come with different skills and personalities.
Right.
Introverts, extroverts. And believe it or not, I'm a functioning extrovert with introvert tendencies. I have to have my me time. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why we're talking about me. Let's go back to students. Okay. But the student organizations, I remember I told you it was overwhelming because we have so many.
Yeah.
Well, there's something for everybody. And if there's not, all you got to do is find 3 more friends and y'all get together and form your own. But what you learn
Faculty advisor.
There you go.
Yeah.
What you learn from forming a student organization by putting a constitution and bylaws together, running meetings, doing minutes for your meetings, planning a philanthropy event for your organization, mediation conflict because people aren't always going to get along. And so you're going to work with people that are different than you with different backgrounds, different perspectives. But at the end of the day, if you can learn from their perspectives, and what if they change your mind? That's even better.
That's even better.
Because now you learn a perspective and you're like, oh, well, that one makes more sense. Let's go with that. And it might be different from what you grew up with or what your families grew up with. Now, right now we're going through an election. This is not a political talk by any means. But I think it's important for students. They grew up in a household and maybe their parents were in a certain political party.
Right.
But students come here to college and they get to see, well, maybe this one makes more sense for me. And that the development between a traditional age student, like 18 to 22, it changes so much.
Right.
And this is why students need to get out of their residence halls, out of their apartment, or if they're from this area and they're commuters and they're driving in, they still need to stay on campus and have that experience and get to know other people
Right.
and learn from those perspectives.
Yes,
For sure.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amen. Preach.
I like
That's
it.
what I need you to say. That's it.
I got you next
got me?
time.
You got me next time? Okay.
I'm gonna create a custom button from
I need
just
a
that. Yeah. No, just amen. Preach.
Amen,
That's
preach.
all we need, right
That's all
there.
you need.
Final question before we go.
Okay, I'm ready. Oh, final. It just happened so fast.
Yeah.
When you're having fun.
You wanted the short version anyway.
Yes.
So there's gonna be more interviews. Don't worry about
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Matter of fact, send an email out to Jill and just be like, hey, Moosa's ready for that job too.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
Send him the invite.
Okay.
But final interview though. Final question.
Yes, sir.
Midterms happening right now.
Happening right now.
Right. The rest of the semester, it's the grind. It's the recovery from burnout. All of that stuff. It's just the grind.
Right.
That's all it is. Once homecoming's done, it's go time.
Yep.
It's focus time and everything. What advice would you give incoming freshmen, and what advice would you give, returning students who just you've been here, but you don't seem to get you lost handle. You're just you're kind of lost right now. Something happened along the way.
Okay.
You got too involved.
Well, that is the case. Some people get way too involved and their grades slip. So they need to draw up something or just become a member instead of an officer. Okay. Because their focus should 100% be why they are here, and that is to get a college degree and prepare for the workforce. That's the main focus.
Yes, ma'am.
And everything else is learning outside the classroom, and that they need to do that and they need to grow.
Right.
But advice I have, a couple of things. You had mentioned, the grind after midterms. No, start at the beginning. You start every semester strong.
Right.
Don't wait until midterms.
Of course.
Start strong. We are creatures of habits. We are what we repeatedly do. So if you make a plan to study, stick with that plan.
Okay.
You tell your friends, no, I can't go this, I can't do that. But I can do it at this time and give them options because you want to still have some friends, right? And you want to have some fun. But stick to your schedule. Plan time to study. Don't get behind. And don't wait to midterms to turn up the grind a little bit more. Turn it up at the very beginning. Give it 110% all the time. Here's the deal. Don't leave any cards on the table because you don't want to look back with regrets. Like you could have done better in that general psychology class if you changed your attitude a little bit. Every day, say,
I'm listening.
I'm going to be good.
Right.
I'm going to go study for this class. Regardless if I don't maybe mesh with the professor's style of teaching, the information is good in that class, and I'm learning a lot. Yes. What if I want to change my major to psychology?
I don't.
Oh,
I just changed my major
to this.
Media communication. I was in computer science. This is home.
Yep.
This is home.
And if you bomb the first test, that is hopefully okay. You can still recover from it. What did you learn from that? Are you going to go to the SIs? Are you going to go to the professor? And don't go to the professor and say, I don't understand anything. Go specifically. Tell me more about this theory.
Right.
Teach me more about this. Any advice on how to study for your test? Because I didn't do so well on that first test. Right. So don't be scared of the professor. They are people too.
Yes.
And just go in with an open mind as far as that goes. Now, there was a lot of parts in your question. I feel like there's another piece I'm missing. What was that part? At the very end, you said...
graduating, maintaining,
do that, maintaining,
avoiding burnout. I think you
avoiding
covered it all.
Burnout. Well, here's the thing with burnout. Oftentimes we get burned out because we've procrastinated. That's a hard word to say sometimes. We've procrastinated. And we get overwhelmed with a particular project.
Right.
You got this big paper due, you got this big portfolio project due, whatever. And you just keep thinking
paralyzed.
About it. And you're just like, oh, I don't know where to start. Think of it. How does an elephant eat something? One bite at a time. They're not just, they don't just go, and they might. I don't know. Maybe that's an alligator. But you've got to break it up into chunks, okay? So.
What a country reference.
I
love
know.
it.
There's my Pittsburgh coming out. You got to just do a little bit at a time and don't put it off. Okay. And reward yourself when you're studying. Okay. So put your phone away when you're studying. Reward yourself. You've studied for 20 minutes because your attention span, probably 15 to 20 minutes at a time. So put your phone away, study in chunks.
Right.
Do projects in chunks. and then it's not so overwhelming.
Okay.
I think the hardest part of a project is getting started on it.
Yes, ma'am.
You know? And so if you can just do a little bit at a time, and then ask your professor for help or feedback
Right.
or advice, ask staff members. For the most part, everybody cares about student success here, and we want you to be successful. We want you to graduate.
Yes, ma'am.
And like Jill would say, I want you to be successful so then you can come back and donate money to the university. I would love to have a building named after you. And then when I win the lottery, I am going to have a building, not necessarily named after me,
Right.
but specifically for some of our students.
Yes.
And it's going to all be great.
I like
Yeah.
it. That sounds like a plan.
That's a plan.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So that concludes today's episode of the Cheat Sheet. I really appreciate you, Dr. Holly Smith.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes,
It's been
ma'am.
fun here today. I'm glad you invited me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your insight about the power of student involvement and campus life. It's inspiring to see how these experiences can shape students' college journey and future. To all our listeners, don't forget to subscribe to the Cheat Sheet and follow us on social media and stay connected. This is King Musa signing off, encouraging you to stay engaged, stay active, and keep telling your story. Y'all have a great day.